Now I get to cogeneration. One of the major findings in our research, which was mostly done by Bill Powers, who was a very experienced engineer in cogen systems and distributed generation, power storage, was a discovery of enormous amounts of steam boiler waste heat down San Francisco. There is a lot of waste heat in the basements of the city, and capturing that waste heat is a radical opportunity for this program. It's an economic opportunity which could significantly drop the cost of power and all the assumptions about the cost of serving San Francisco, as well as effectively using the CCA to augment a gas efficiency program for those turbines. The power could be sold on site. The power could be sold flexibly to other customers, depending on the right configuration. But either way, it's a significant opportunity. The Department of the Environment has identified 106 megawatts of potential, and we're recommending that those resources be included as candidate targets for the RFP.
I think we have a question. Commissioner Schweitzer?
Yes. You said 106 megawatts have been identified. How many different locations is that?
Let me bring up Robert, see if he remembers.
Yeah.
We don't have Bill Powers here, unfortunately. He's on vacation.
Cal Broomhead, Department of Environment.
Hi, Cal.
That study, we just were identifying large hotels and hospitals in San Francisco. We didn't really even look at all of the potential. So the 106 is really more of a minimum potential.
So I'm sorry, how many locations
I
approximately?
couldn't tell you how many. We're probably talking 30 or 40, something, a small.
30 to 40?
30 to 40.
And just to make sure I understand.
I think it's in that order of magnitude of numbers anyway.
Yeah. I mean, in order to implement cogeneration, you'd have to construct a cogeneration facility attached to the boiler, right? I mean,
Yes.
You couldn't just...
No, you have to build it. There has to be space. There's seismic, asbestos issues, space issues, venting, lots of things that make these things take a long time to happen, and then they're all the interconnection issues.
I mean, and it's not cheap to actually install a cogen
It depends on how big a system. There are a number of very small cogeneration systems that were fairly easy to install.
Okay. I'm just...
I'll forward you a copy of the study. Actually, I believe it's on our website.
Okay.
You can go to the Department of Environment website, and I believe it's there. If you don't find it, let me know, and I'll email it to you as soon as.
I'm really just more curious about the. I mean, I think it's an interesting point, and cogeneration is a terrific thing to do, especially when it's built in right from the beginning, so it's integrated as part of.
Woking, England used cogeneration. They created neighborhood-based cogen to serve residential and commercial in neighborhoods, and they called it private wire, where they literally created a micro grid within the town. They reduced the town's greenhouse gas footprint by 70% through cogeneration.
Did your report include a cost estimate of what it would cost to retrofit?
I don't think it did.
Okay.
No. That would require further engineering studies. This was just a potential study.
Okay. I mean, it seems unlikely that it would actually be free and therefore lower the net cost of power.
Well, one of the
over maybe the very long term.
One of the surprising things was that the hotels and hospitals that have installed cogen have been wildly happy with it. And the engineers are wondering, why haven't others done it? And so we think that there's quite a bit of low-hanging fruit there.
Just in the name of time, any more questions on cogen? We've basically recommended that in the name of simplifying the complexity issue, a bundling of permit applications for identified boilers, as well as assistance and interconnect with the PG system where appropriate in order to expedite that process. It is complex, but it is also low-hanging fruit. It's also an enormous greenhouse gas benefit that can be gained in terms of the reduced emissions from those, and it's just such a no-brainer for the city to do this. It's just sitting there fuming away. So if we could go back, please, to the PowerPoint. The next subject is the Transbay Cable, and so we have had a look at the key documents in the the FERC jurisdiction and rules regarding transmission access to that site. We've had some contact with the company that's developing the site, as well as some of the folks in Pittsburgh, and come to the conclusion that the TBC is available for purposes of development of a renewable facility for generation in the Delta. We have not arrived at the conclusion that the Delta should be the site for renewable power generation. However, the Transbay Cable is an undeniable resource for the city. When it was built on the grounds that it would reduce the need for fossil fuel generation within the city. There's a historical linkage. As I said before, the FERC gives precedence to renewable energy projects. The Delta is one of the prime wind development zones right now in California. It's a wonderful resource. It's very physically proximate. So the benefit of having a resource there goes beyond just energy independence or green power. It reaches to independence from PG&E itself physically for power gen. It's another connection out. And so we're recommending investigating renewable generation projects in the Delta for use with that line.